What's up? My name is Alina Smith. I'm a writer and producer for projects like ITZY, Red Velvet, Produce 101, Fall Out Boy, Betty Who, and many others. So today we're going to be comparing the sound of 3 different microphones. One that costs about $100, one that costs about $1,000, and one that costs a whopping almost $11,000, but for this video, for catching us, we'll say $10,000. So I'm going to sing a passage of the same song into these 3 mics, and the first mic is PreSonus PX1. This is a really good mic that I have sung into in the past, and it costs about $120 to buy. I find it to be a great traveling mic because it doesn't need a power supply, so it's light and easy to take with you. And it sounds really good for the cost. The next mic I'm gonna try is Warm Audio 8000. So this mic is a replica of a Sony C800, which is another $10,000 microphone. And it claims to have extremely similar sound to it. Finally, we have the Telefunken LM251. I'm actually talking into it right now. So this mic is pretty much the gold standard of vocal microphones. Everybody from Beyonce to Ariana Grande to Fiona Apple has used this microphone. It's been around for a really long time. Mine is brand new. It was built for me a month ago or so. So it isn't a vintage version, but it's still an extremely amazing mic. So I'm really excited to put these mics to the test and really see some of these minute differences that make some of them worth so much more than the others. With that being said, let's get to recording, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, so I finished recording and I've got my 3 takes here, one from the Telefunken, one from the Warm Audio, and one from the PreSonus. Now, I'm warning you, this is not my best vocal performance. I don't know why I picked such a chromatic song. We'll never know. But let's go ahead and start listening. I'm gonna start with the least expensive mic, the PreSonus PX1. So this is what it sounds like. When I'm with you, I can see 2 moons up in the same sky, silver on silver. We look damn good, matching our dark sides. So I have nothing but tune on this. No compression, no EQ of any kind, and I'm not gonna comment yet. I'm already hearing some little issues and problems, and but let's go ahead and just hear the other 2. This is the Warm Audio. When I'm with you, I can see 2 moons up in the same sky, silver on silver. We look damn good, matching our dark sides. All right, and finally we have the I'm not sure how to say it, the Telefunken, the magic golden goose. When I'm with you, I can see 2 moons up in the same sky, silver on silver. We look damn good, matching our dark sides. All right, so now that we heard the takes, I'm gonna mute the piano and I'm gonna go through one by one, and I'm going to be looking for 5 things. The very first and the most important thing I'll be looking for is body. Somewhere from around 200 hertz to about 600 hertz is where the magic lives as far as microphones. How does it capture mid-range and lower mid-range? You can always boost the top end of the frequency range. A lot of EQ plugins can do that quite well, but boosting body, it can be really quite tricky in post. So I'm really curious about how these mics capture that. The next thing I'll be looking for is how these mics handle proximity, especially for a pop singer like me. I like to be really up close here, and I want to see how they handle the airflow when I'm that close to them. The third thing I will be looking for is how it handles S's. We all know that we need de-essers in pop music, especially female vocals. All of us are like, and obviously you can use a de-esser, so this is not a big issue that I'm paying that much attention to, but I am curious how each mic handles those S's. Next, I will be looking for how these mics handle plosives. This is really quite important to me because I find that even with a pop filter, some mics are just worse at handling those kind of sounds, there's a lot of abrasive airflow that happens, and it's the engineer's job is to go through and turn them down, or use something like Isotope RX for that, which can be tricky and annoying. So I am excited to see the differences between these three. And finally, I will just be judging, and this is the most subjective of the 5 parameters. I will be judging the overall character of the mic. Obviously, we have one voice here, my own, so I will be specifically figuring out what I like about how these mics handle the tonalities of my voice. So with that being said, let's start really nitpicking. Okay, so here's PreSonus soloed. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we like. Okay, so the biggest problem here happens in this area when I get louder, and I did that on purpose when I was singing. I wanted to see what would happen if I kind of screamed into it a little bit, and it's clipping a bit, even though you don't see a clip. Maybe right here it sounds clippy, without like anything on it. On silver we like. And then also there's a lot of weird air movement going on in this area as well. So here's WA. Up in the same sky, silver on silver we look. Same area. Obviously my performance was a bit different, but it's a lot smoother. And finally, the LM. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look. Damn. I hate my take here. I have so many cuts. I was pitchy, guys. I was really pitchy. But so the first thing I'm noticing is that the PreSonus has a lot of mid-range. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look. But it isn't like great, nice, even, tasty mid-range. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds a bit just dull in those types of frequencies. I noticed with warm audio, there is not that much mid-range. If you listen to this, it's a lot of top range. Up in the same sky, silver on... Like, there's not a lot of body present at all. And then if we listen to the LM... Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look. Especially right here in the ver. It doesn't have that dull quality to it like PreSonus did, but it does have body and it is smooth. To me, this is the biggest difference between these. And obviously I'm being really nitpicky here because I'm trying to get that last 5% to elevate my productions to the level that I want them to be at, to where they can be competitive with all the biggest producers in the world. So I pay attention to the little things. Okay, so let me take a look at this part now and try to judge how these mics handle proximity. This is PreSonus. Matching our dark sides, sing to. Okay, so right here on the word to, on the PreSonus, it's not handling the air very well. And especially for pop singers, there's a lot of exhalation used in singing to emphasize certain words. So I'm doing sing to, and I'm exhaling, and the exhale is part of the style of this. And to, it's giving me this little nasty pop, even though I was using a pop filter. Matching our dark sides, sing to. I think this is quite better. If you listen very closely to this word sides, there is a little bit of this proximity sort of dullness happening in the mid-range, but I'm being very nitpicky, and I think it mostly sounds quite even. And here's the LM. Matching our dark sides, sing to. See how smooth that is? The exhale here. It sounds like a breath. It doesn't sound like a pop or anything like that. And there's no any sort of dullness induced by my breathing really closely into the mic. So I like how this sounds the best. So let's move on to checking out how these mics are handling S's. This is one of the reasons I chose this song. Up in the same sky, I see there's a lot of S's going on. So I was like, I just want to see what happens. So if we go back to here and check this out, this is going to be PreSonus. You, I can see 2 moons. Yeah, this C right here. See. It's very harsh. It's a really harsh S. And I'm sure a de-esser could handle it, but it does have a very cheap quality to it, and my ear is catching on that. You, I can see 2 moons. I will say the C on the WA is not much better. Can see. It's so tinny, and that's one thing I've noticed about the WA. It is just a tinny mic generally. So obviously a de-esser will help, but I don't like how that sounds naturally as far as the S. You, I can see to can see. Very small difference. It's just slightly less tinny. Obviously, it's still without any de-essing, but I don't know if you guys can hear it. That one is just a little harsher. And that one's a lot harsher. Next, we're going to look at plosives, and I have a perfect line, up in the same sky. So this is PreSonus. Up in the same sky. Yeah, you can hear that pop. Up in the. It's very low. Can you hear that bass come in like very pronounced, and I did use a pop filter for sure. Up in the same. It's much better on the WA. Up in the same. It's almost non-existent. There is definitely still a pop of mid-range and bass happening, but it's very small. Up in the same. Up in the. That's non-existent. There's really. Up in this. There's nothing there, and I have not edited this. So yeah, definitely the LM is handling plosives a lot better. So next I'm testing volume. I already know what I'm going to say about this because it was so glaringly obvious when I was just playing this. So the part where I get loud, and I'm not even that loud, I can like scream if I need to on a track, but just increasing the volume a little bit. And I was about this far from the mic. I didn't do one of these. To be honest, I don't really like doing that because it ends up capturing more of the room than you. So, I mean, I will if I have to, but I like to stay about the same distance from the mic unless I'm getting really close for like a whispery thing. So yeah, if we listen to this, silver on silver we like. Yeah, this. What we like. That look, and I did have some rasp in my voice. It isn't all distortion, but it's definitely, you can hear how it's struggling. What we like. Silver on silver we look. Obviously I sing this very different. I sing it a lot lighter and kind of mixed voice versus that pushy kind of voice. We look. But you can even see in the waveform how it just gets a lot bigger here than this is like pretty even on the WA. And finally the LM. Silver on silver we look. Yeah, see, I get a little bit louder. Look. And you still can hear that raspiness, but it isn't like crushed. So, and finally, I will give you guys my thoughts on the overall character of these microphones. Personally, I think these mics are good pop vocal mics for their price ranges, especially PreSonus. Like, it did really, really well considering it's such an inexpensive mic. I do think the reason the LM is such a preferred mic in the industry is just because it has such a smooth character. All of those things that I listed, from the plosives to the S's to the proximity, it handled everything really, really well. And it had a really nice sort of neutral but slightly warm character throughout, while the others, I find that warm audio tends to lean very tinny, very bright. It is imitating Sony C800, and PreSonus sounds good overall, but does have a little bit of those issues with body and mid-range. So, and finally, I want to do one more thing with you guys. I put a pop vocal chain on this vocal. I added some reverb, I added some delay, EQ, compression, all the normal things, de-essing. And I just want to show you guys that even if you don't have a budget for, a really expensive microphone or even a mid-range microphone, you can sound pretty good with something like the PreSonus as long as you process it correctly. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look damn good. Matching our dark sides. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look damn good. Matching our dark sides. Up in the same sky, silver on silver, we look damn good. Matching our dark sides. As you can see, with a pop vocal chain, they sound really, really comfortable. So I wouldn't worry too much, guys, if you don't have the budget for, the most expensive mic. I think it really is just about how you process it and, of course, who's singing. Alright guys, and that's pretty much the video. Thank you so much for watching. I do a lot of content here that has to do with production and songwriting. So if you guys enjoy these types of videos, make sure you subscribe and hit your post notifications so you don't miss any videos from me. And that being said, I'm gonna go, so have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!